Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode. I hope you're all fine. Like as we do always, we bring you exciting videos, nice ones for you guys to watch, share your opinions, and your comment. And this one, it won't be long, just a 15-minute video. Yeah. So, and this one, it says why women decided to call off their engagement. Why women, females, decided to call off their engagement. What happened? What was the reason? And my first question to you guys is, why in the first place would you call off your engagement to a person you love so much? Because it's everybody's dream to get married to the partner, have children, live this happily ever after dream. Yeah. So my first question to you is, why would you call off your engagement? I want to share a little bit of opinion on this one. You see, when we are dating, the red flags are loud in the dating stages. The red flags are very, very loud in the dating stages. And some of us be like, man, I'm too tired to, start again with somebody. The talking stage, tell you what my favorite color is, my favorite food, like those sports, like you feel me, those talking stage, this So some be like, man, I'm too tired to, start over again. So let me just move on with this person. Gradually, definitely, that person is going to change. But let me tell you something. Men change when they want to. Not because you want them to change. Same as women. Yeah, but this one is like women's video. So let me talk like that. Men change when they want to change. When they be like, damn, I haven't been treating this lady well. I need to change for the better for this lady. But not because you want them to change. They will not do that. You can force a man, like how they say, you can force a horse to the riverside, but you can't force it to drink. Exactly. So I want us to quickly watch these videos. These ladies are explaining what happened, what they felt, and the reason why they called off their engagement. And ladies, never settle for less. Never settle for less. Some men are just meant to be dated, are just meant to be a dating partner, but are not meant to be husbands. Some men are meant to be boyfriends, but not husbands.
Never ever settle. So I was engaged to another person before I met my husband, and I was around 28, and of course I thought I was going to turn into an ogre if I didn't get married before I was 30. And for some reason I just knew that this was not the person that I was supposed to be with. I knew that I was supposed to be with somebody else. And so I was on the phone with my mom one day. She was about to write me a check for $15,000 to put a deposit down on the venue. And I called her and I was like, look, I don't want to get married. I don't want to get married. And looking back on it, I definitely didn't want to marry this person. I didn't feel motivated. I didn't feel supported. I felt like I would have to financially support us or do 50-50 for the rest of my life. And I didn't feel like I could go to this person and be like, hey, I want to try something new, or I don't want to pay bills right now, or give me $1,000. Like, I didn't feel like I could go to that person and say these things. And so I broke off the engagement. I was single for a little while, and then I met my husband. And now my husband, I can call him right now and be like, hey, I want to become a flight attendant. And he'd be like, yes, drop everything. Let's do it. Or I want to be like a karate instructor, or I want to get my PhD. And my husband would be like, yes, I'm motivated. Let's go to the gym. Let's go running. Let's do all this stuff. My husband's very motivating for me. He knows how to push me. He knows me. And I just didn't feel that with anybody else. And I'm so glad that I waited until I was 34 to actually get married, because it just felt right. It felt like the right thing, and it still does. So never settle, because I'm telling you, right around the corner is the exact person that you're supposed to be with, the person that will motivate you for the rest of your life to be the best version of yourself. So good luck.
I was in a 10-year relationship. I was engaged for the last 2 years of it. And 2 weeks prior to the wedding, we broke everything off. It wasn't that I realized in those 2 weeks that we weren't compatible, including lifestyle plus other issues. It was that it was a long time coming, and it took me a really long time to choose myself until I chose myself. I kept thinking and convincing myself that things would get better, that as time went on, he would change. And that's the thing that I learned, that people don't change for other people, they change for themselves. And I was dating him and being with him for his potential and what he could be, instead of just seeing who he was and who he was showing me right then and there. To give you guys a little background, we were college sweethearts, so we were growing together. And then it wasn't until we graduated college that we started living together that I saw more of who he was, that we started growing apart. And that's when the issues started coming up. And what I can say is that when you don't have peace of mind, that's how you know that it's your time to leave. And I ignored my intuition for a really long time until I didn't.
And some women rush into marriage because of age. You see, it's like we live in a society where being a woman, you have an age to do certain things. You see, this society is designed for women to, have an age, a specific age to get married, a specific age to get children, a specific age to start work, or whatever that crap is. That's how our society is. So if your age exceeds that age of the society, exceed the one that society has, written now, like you feel pressured, you feel pushed, whatever. See, don't let these things get to you. If you are, let's say, even 39 years or whatever, and you still think that you're not ready for marriage, or this person that I'm with right now isn't a marriage material, don't rush into it because society is looking at you in some way. Don't do that. You would end up, your happiness is your happiness. You see, if you are facing something in your marriage, it isn't the society that is facing it. It is you yourself that is facing it. Those red flags, you are the one going to be, be living with it all along. And society wouldn't be living with it. It is you. So we have to think before you enter something. Don't let what has been written or what has been said be something that you are following. We all came from different places with different perspective and morals and whatever. And we came into this world one. We will live one. So you decide what is good for you and do it. Just make sure it leaves a positive impact on the people around you. Simple.
Get ready with me to tell you how I broke up with my boyfriend of 3.5 years and was engaged. Ultimately, it was my decision, and I'm glad I went through with it, honestly. Was it one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make for myself? Most definitely. But like I said, I don't regret it, honestly, and I feel like it's for the best of us together. Obviously, there's a lot of logistics I want to share, and just in general, a lot of extra things, but I'm just going to go over the overview. And so overall, and honestly, this is still very hard to share, especially on the internet, but I'm going to because I'm just like that. But ultimately, I needed more. I feel like I was asking for basically the bare minimum. And when I thought about it, okay, once he did that, maybe it's still the bare minimum. And I asked for a lot of different things for many, many years, forgave for many, many years. And at this point, I'm just kind of done. And so for me, I feel like once you keep asking for the same damn thing for years and years, once you finally kind of get it, and if you don't, it just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel genuine because it's like I just harassed you so long to be able to do this one action. So in addition to asking for basically the bare minimum, there's some...
Yeah, you see, being with somebody, and I've been in this situation before, I won't lie. Being with somebody and just begging for that person to do right by you, and still the person isn't. It's so, tiresome. Like, just give up, like, eventually. You feel me? Like, begging that person, oh, just do right, do this thing. Like, you beg, like, every day. Have to, just simple something. It has to be an argument, everything. Just get tired. It's exhausting, trust me. Yeah. Like, why should we be in a relationship where I have to beg for some stuff? Like, and the person still isn't doing it. Like, you've talked and still.
Some other details within that I can share in another video. But also, I feel like it was like this mother-son relationship too, where I was like being the mother. And I feel like a lot of girls can relate to that because I've talked to a lot of friends, things like that. And it's like, I'm sorry, like, I'm not going to be your mother. And once that dynamic hits, then it's like, it just doesn't feel right, I feel like. And I feel like I was just taking a lot of the mental load and just like stuff like that, and it just wasn't fun. It was not enjoyable or happy for me. But that doesn't mean there wasn't happy moments at all. Obviously there was happy moments, but in the end, there was so many sad moments and stuff that I had to do alone, cry myself to sleep all the time, and it's just like, at some point I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And so with every relationship, obviously like the intimacy started dying down, and it felt like we were roommates at some points, and I was just like, I don't want this for my life. Like, I can't stand at the altar and pretend that I'm okay and I want to marry someone like that. He's a great person, I give him that, but I just don't think we're meant to be together. Like, I want so many different things than he wants, things like that. And I feel like some people try to stay in relationships and make them work when you guys are just not meant to be together. And then some people are like, well, just forgive him. Can you forgive him one more time? And it's like, I literally don't have any more forgiveness left in me. Like, my cup is very dry. Like, I know no one's perfect, and I know everyone has their flaws, but like I said, I just feel like we weren't meant to be together. I shouldn't have to keep forgiving, and I should finally put myself first, and I think that's okay and a good thing. And so overall within that, I was starting to like lose myself. I wasn't really acting like I normally act, as happy as I usually am, and I knew that was the biggest sign. So honestly, it was like a huge mental battle of like, oh my gosh, I'm losing so much, but I'm also getting my happiness back. But I am very proud of myself because like a lot of people stay in mediocre relationships, and I'm just not that girl. Couldn't be me. So more videos to come and new beginnings.
I ended a relationship and cut off an engagement from a great man.
But why?
He was a good man. He loved God.
That is good.
He loved and adored me. He was there for me.
C'est bien.
He was handsome. He was well educated.
Benjamin.
Yes, he checked all the boxes. But there
There's a bot. Neighbors gather around. There's a bot.
But there was still something missing. And I just knew that I could not go through with this marriage. There was just something that did not connect. I felt that there should have been a connection between he and I in order for me to be his wife.
Jesus Christ, the motorbike. Lady, he is not Wi-Fi. You are not iPhone. Why are you looking for invincible connection when he already has all the good qualities that you want?
And so I cut off the engagement.
You fumbled the bag, lady. He's a good man, Savannah. Is it because he did not possess the demonic energy that you ladies seem to be attracted to these days? I don't understand this. I give up.
We need to normalize ending an engagement with a wonderful man. Stay with me on this one. All you see here on TikTok, all you see online is people talking about ending an engagement because somebody has lied, somebody's cheated on them, and it's okay to end a relationship with a truly wonderful person. So I was engaged years ago to a truly wonderful, wonderful man who I loved very much and who loved me, but we had problems. And I believed everything the society sold me that, oh God, love will conquer all. And it's just not true. Our problems kept mounting and mounting, and we kept saying, oh, we'll be able to figure them out eventually because we love each other. And then as we got closer to the wedding, they got bigger and bigger, and they were things that we couldn't compromise on without compromising our happiness. So I ended the relationship. He was very devastated. I was very devastated, but it's been years now and we have been able to become really, really good friends. He got remarried. He had a beautiful child and we've been able to have this friendship carry on. And I know it will carry on for the rest of our lives, which is probably what we should have always been, which was truly, truly great friends. So let's normalize ending relationships with people who just aren't right for us, no matter how wonderful they are.
Let's talk about some signs that helped me realize that I did not want to marry my ex-fiance. In no specific order, that feeling. When he asked me, I actually saw a ring in his back pocket while we were walking onto the beach, and initial reaction was, let's turn around. When he was on a knee, I said, are you sure? Didn't want to look at wedding dresses. I love fashion, I love clothes, and I had absolutely no interest in looking at a wedding dress. The thought of planning a wedding gave me so much anxiety. Next, I started convincing myself that I did not want kids anymore. I studied early childhood education in college. I freaking love babies. I started to literally believe maybe I don't want kids anymore. I started to envision a life outside of the life that I was living. I thought about what kind of job I wanted to have, where I wanted to be, what I wanted to do with my life, what kind of routine I wanted to have, and none of it aligned with the life that I was currently living.
I've always wanted to do that.
I felt so much disconnect from myself. Walking away from an engagement is hard. Even if you don't want to be with the person anymore, you no longer love that person, you know you'll be happier once you leave, it's still hard. And that's okay. I remember the day that I left, I had a moment where my gut feeling, whatever it had been doing, it finally relaxed. I just felt this relief. I kept telling myself that it's so much better to be embarrassed or scared to do something than to live your life settling for something when you know you deserve more. I was so scared that my family was going to be so disappointed in me. Respectfully, nobody gives a fuck if you walk away from your engagement. People who love you are going to love you either way. People who support you and are there for you and genuinely care about your happiness and your well-being, they will support you through this. It's going to be okay, and it does get better. Your life is about to start. You just have to close the chapter. I love you so much. Can do this. You got this.
So yesterday I posted a video talking about how I was engaged, but I broke it off and moved across the country where I didn't know a soul. And a lot of you guys wanted a story time about it, so let's do it. So I got engaged September of 2019 to a guy that I was dating for about 2 years at the time. And he's a really awesome guy, but for some reason, before we got engaged, I just was not feeling good about it. I started having doubts about 3 months before we got engaged. We had gone on a trip together, and I saw some aspects of his personality come out that I just didn't appreciate, like how he acted under stress and stuff like that. And so like around that time I started to have these feelings of doubt, and then I knew that the proposal was coming. Like I knew that it was coming up, and so I started to feel, instead of excitement, I started to feel really stressed and anxious about it. I was so stressed that literally the week before I made a pros and cons list, which looking back now, hindsight 2020, I feel like if I felt the need to make that list, I probably should have just known that it wasn't right. But my issue was that on paper, he was everything that I wanted in a partner. He was all these amazing things. And I was like, what is wrong with me to where I don't want to marry this person? There's literally no reason why I should be feeling this way. And so I thought, I kind of talked it up in my mind to be jitters or being just nervous, or this could be a whole nother story time, but I had dated someone for 4 years before this person that I was engaged to, who had passed away actually. And I was very, very, very much in love with him. And so there was a part of me that was maybe I just feel guilty for moving on and for falling in love again and for finding this new chapter in my life. And so I kind of just wrote it off as that. And so we got engaged. When we got engaged, I was obviously excited, but I still felt like I was having to talk myself into it. I was having to reassure myself that this was the right thing to do and that this was the right decision. And I was very honest with my then fiance about how I was feeling, and I told him about my reservations. And so he suggested that I started to go to grief counseling, which was good. But I went to grief counseling to talk through my guilt from moving on from my previous relationship where the man had passed away. But my grief counselor, when I went to go see her, she was actually you are dealing with a lot of grief and trauma. And I do think that's part of it, but I also think that you just maybe don't want to marry this person. And I was like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. She definitely knew what she was talking about. Okay, I'm gonna have to do a part 2. Okay, this is part 2 of my story, how I broke off an engagement and moved across the country. So I went to that counselor and she basically told me that I just didn't want to marry this man. And I was like, no, you're wrong. So I literally stopped going to her. I owe her an apology. I need to like call her and tell her that she was right. But then we started planning the wedding. But like every time that we would go visit a venue or something like that, I would feel so apprehensive and nervous. And I felt like I was looking for things that were wrong with each venue just so that we wouldn't book it. Because like I couldn't commit to booking a date. And like I put it off for months. So we got engaged in September. Then finally in January, we found a venue that was like perfect. And I was like, there's nothing wrong with this. Like, Maddie, just do it. What's wrong? Like, why are you being so apprehensive? And so we booked the venue for October, but then COVID hit. And so when COVID hit and everything got shut down, I found myself actually feeling like relieved because I was like, maybe the wedding will get canceled. Like, we'll put a pause on planning and all of this stuff, which like, again, hindsight looking back, like I should have known, but like breaking off an engagement is such a huge decision. It's not like you're just breaking up, you know, where you're just dating, you could break up, get back together. Breaking off an engagement is like a final thing. Like you're not, I feel like it's rare that you would break off an engagement and then get back together. And so I like wanted to be so sure. And again, the guy was so amazing that I just like didn't know why I was feeling this way. And so I didn't want to just call it off because I loved him and I wanted to be with him. I did not want to be with him. And so COVID caused us to postpone the wedding yet again. And so that was in October. And then we were thinking like maybe in spring we could get married. And so at this point we had been engaged for a year and like COVID didn't really have an end in sight. And so it was like, okay, do we want to elope or do we want to have a wedding? And COVID really just was like a crutch for me because I didn't have to make the decision that deep down I knew I had to make, because every single day I found myself thinking like, is this right? Is this what I want? Is this what I'm supposed to do? Am I as in love with this man as I know I can be? Because like I said in the last video, I was so in love with the man that I dated before him that like I know how much I can love someone, and I just felt like I loved the guy I was engaged to, but I didn't love him as much as I know I can and as much as I want to love my husband that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, if that makes sense. And then so we made a goal and we said, okay, after the holidays, like we're going to plan, we're going to do it. It's going to happen. And so after the holidays, okay, I'm going to have to do one more part. This is part 3 of how I broke off my engagement and moved across the country. The other 2 parts are on my page. But so after the holidays, I just like, at that point, I was like, it has been a year and a half of me questioning every single day if this is the right decision. And like breaking up sounds like the most awful thing in the world, but why am I questioning this every day? Like I should not be questioning. And I was looking to people on Instagram, like influencers and all those people who had similar stories. And I remember I reached out to Maddie Nelson because she has a very similar situation. And she was like, you know what? If you're reaching out and questioning it enough to reach out to me and ask, I think you already know the answer deep down. And that really hit me because I was like, shoot, like I've been asking that question for a year and a half. Like that means something. And so finally one day he just kind of like came in the room, and because he wanted to elope, he wanted to do all this stuff, and he was like, Maddie, what's going on? And then I basically told him like, I don't want to get married. And it was very hard, and I shattered his heart for sure. And it shattered my own heart. Like it was awful. It was so awful. All my family was shocked. They loved him. And it was just terrible. But after, I truly felt so much peace about it. Like it was like a weight just lifted off my shoulders, because I had been making myself sick over it for so long, over making that decision and just having the courage and strength to just do it, like to do what I knew deep down was right. It made me feel so at peace. And I'm obviously a terrible decision maker. And so making a decision and feeling 100% right about it said something. And so, after that, it's a long story, but things got very sour afterwards. And what happened after the breakup just solidified it even more. I was like, you know what? All the things I was apprehensive about like have come to fruition, and I know that I'm not supposed to be with this person. I do not want to be with someone who talks to me that way, who treats me that way, and it ended up just being the best thing ever. And so literally like 2 months later, I decided to move across the country for a fresh start. So I moved from California to Nashville. I didn't know a soul. I just picked up and left. And it has been the most amazing year of just like living my own life, living for me, not having to worry about anyone else, like doing what I want while I can, while I have this time where it's just me. And it has been amazing. So that is my story time. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know.
I called the wedding off 7 days before it was supposed to happen. And while that is a long loaded story for another time, there's something about that I wanted to share has been impacting me a lot lately. Right after I called the wedding off, I was searching and reaching so desperately for some semblance or sign that everything was going to be okay. And for me in that moment, okay meant I ended up with somebody else, somebody better, and my life looked like the fairy tale that it was supposed to look like just 8 days before that. And now suddenly I'm 7 days before the wedding and my whole life is shattering around me. I found out he was cheating on me with somebody I considered a friend. So that's the reasoning behind it. And it was one of the easiest decisions I've ever made because there was no part of me that wanted to tell my future children, don't worry if you're getting cheated on, daddy cheated on me, you know, we're all good. And everyone's story is different and people recover from infidelity. But for me, 7 days before I said vows to somebody and committed my life to them, I definitely didn't feel comfortable moving forward with that. And so after that, I found myself searching for signs and asking people constantly if they knew someone that had experienced something similar, like when was everything okay for them again? Or how do, you know, what was their stories ending? Or are they married now? And I remember one, a former boss in particular had said to me, yeah, I have a friend, the same thing happened within, you know, in a year. She met the love of her life and she was married and everything was wonderful. And I hung on to that hope. And what's crazy is it's now been 7 years since I called my wedding off. And if you had told me in those moments after, oh, hey girl, in 7 years, you're still not going to be married. You're not going to have found this person that you needed to complete you. I think it might have ruined me. Like it would have done some significant damage because I was looking and grasping so desperately at needing this answer. But now 7 years later, I've found a love for myself that I've never had before. I found the person I was looking for and that person was me. And that has had to involve a lot of additional beginnings and endings, a lot of additional heartbreak, a lot of things that if somebody fast forwarded in a crystal ball and said, oh, hey, yeah, guess what, girl, you're 7 years out and still don't have that thing that you think you need to be happy, I wouldn't have wanted to hear that. But I'm here to tell you now that no matter where you find yourself, your path is already set. You already have everything you want within your higher being. Your highest self already has it all. And worrying about finding security only holds you in the past. My life did not turn out the way that I thought or I even hoped it would when I called my wedding off 7 days before it was supposed to happen. But in almost every single way, it's been better. So choose to believe that. The best is still yet to come, and our very best days have not happened yet. And we could not write them up any better than the universe already has planned, even if we tried.
Okay, that is the end of the video. And you see, everybody had a story to say. They all said what happened, what they felt. Some was like they just didn't feel like that person was the right person. And it's true, you see, sometimes throughout dating, somebody wouldn't show you the true colors, wouldn't show you the real side. So you get married to that person. I don't know what that behavior is called. I don't know if it's wizard or witch, that. I don't know. But somebody wouldn't show you their true side. So you put a ring on their finger. Then they start portraying some actions, some attitude that you don't even know. You see? And sometimes too, you see the red flags. The red flags are loud in our face. But like I said, we are tired to start over again with somebody else, with a new person. So just be like, move with that person. Definitely that person is going to change. They won't. When they want to, they will. But for you to ask them to change, please, they won't do it. And secondly, people rush to marriage because they think age is beating them. Age isn't beating you, my dear. If that person isn't right, you feel it. Like last time I said in my videos that you have to know how to read energies. if this person isn't being right by you, you feel it. You see, you can be in a relationship with somebody for more than 10 years or whatever, and you can be engaged to that person, but within that moment of being engaged, that person turns into a boyfriend, from boyfriend to fiancé, that person start showing you the colors, the true colors. And my dear, it's not wrong to call off relationship, though it's hard. It is hard, disappointment from family members, whatever. But like I said, when the red flags are beating you, you are the one who is going to feel it. Your skin, your emotions, everything, you are the one that is going to feel it. Your family or society are not the one who's going to feel it. Please. I'll say this again, some men are supposed to remain as boyfriends, not husband materials or marriage materials. They are supposed to be in the dating zone, only that place, not in the husband's place, please. And ladies, just be clear with whoever you are dating. Know that person well before you want to get married to that person. Marriage isn't just a common something called marriage. Marriage involves a lot. It's about commitment. It's a whole lot. Fine, relationship too is about commitment, but marriage commitment expands. It's much more stronger and bigger than dating. And marriage isn't that easy. So before you marry somebody, know that person is the person you want to be forever with. That person is your forever till the end of your life. Make sure that person is the one. It's your missing rib. Yes, that's what I would say. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you very much for spending time with us. And if this is the first time you have come across this video, and if you haven't subscribed, please do it. Subscribe for us and share with us your opinions and whatever that you think of this video. Thank you very much.